Kia ora koutou, ko Tania Wilkinson tuku ingoa, ko Ngāti Porou te iwi. I am currently the Family Violence and Sexual Violence Coordinator for Te Awa Kairangi. So in Te Awa Kairangi, part of what we do is a multi-agency response to family violence in our community. And unfortunately, we are the highest area in our Wellington region for family violence. We also carry the highest severity of violence in our region as well. So we are not too sure on why that is just yet. We've been the highest in the region for a very long time, and as I mentioned, the severity of violence here is very high as well. And so we work with a multitude of agencies every day and each week, which include Oranga Tamariki, we have Aronga Mai Marae, Kōkiri Marae, we also work with Ministry of Education, Ministry of Social Development, and we have a multitude of family violence agencies such as Family Works, and we also work to support our refuges. At the moment, what's working really well in the Hutt Valley and has been working really well is partnerships. The Hutt Valley is very, very strong in terms of their connections, which is so beautiful and wonderful to see. They have a strong foundation, they have a strong network here, and there's none of that. They don't tend to work against each other, they work with each other. So often at the tepu, if one agency is fully at capacity, another agency will put their hand up, they will share resources, they kōrero with each other. So that's working so beautifully in the hut. And our network is also working great because we work with teachers like ECE through to secondary. We're looking at getting GPs involved in our network. And we have health, we have all sectors of the community tied in together. In terms of maybe what's not working so well and where our gaps are, it's like anywhere really, the systematic issues that sometimes have been around for a long time that affect our coalface workers on the ground to do their mahi. Sometimes they run into a lot of brick walls, and it's about how to navigate through those walls or who to contact as a conduit to help you navigate government processes, government systems, as well as what's happening on the ground and implementing things. Another thing we see quite a lot happening is these beautiful strategies get written. They get presented and they're really good. Some of them are really good, don't get me wrong, but I've often witnessed in this line of work and coming from local government for the past 13 years before this position that sometimes they are shelved. They collect a wee bit of dust, so we are very keen to work as a close network on how to get those strategies off that shelf and how to implement them in ways that work. And it's important, I think, to work in an adaptable environment as well. Each whānau is different. Often in practice, there can be an inconsistency of agencies that are very whānau-centred or individually centred around a person versus telling a person what to do. So we've just got to be really careful and remember that we're working alongside and walking alongside a whānau or an individual rather than doing for. So it's about that enabling and empowering them and not stripping away their mana and them realising they've actually got the tools to do it. I think another thing that we're focusing on here that's really important in the Hutt Valley is flipping the narrative and the languaging and realising how important languaging is, not just to ourselves and what we say in our own head to ourselves, but as a wider whole and as a wider community, and central government is involved in that as well. We're all parts of a bigger machine. And often our people, when they hear that they're in the negative stats all the time or they're the deficit of this and deficit of that, and they don't hear it or see a lot of their people achieving or hear these stories of achievement, you're not going to believe that you can reach that point. So flipping the narrative and what language you use is something we're very passionate here in the hut, and we're working very closely to start changing that narrative for our community as well. And I think that also starts with whānau recognising their strengths and having safe spaces created where they can actually identify being in te pō and what te pō looks like for them, learning about their own shadow self and doing that mahi to come into the light and to find themselves in a stronger version of themselves as well. And I think just focusing on that, more of the intergenerational trauma, what causes it, where it comes from, and learning ways to heal that holistically alongside maybe more Western types of working. That's kind of what the hut looks like. We've got a few little gaps in our system still, with some directives coming from the top down that may not necessarily work with the high volumes of violence that we have here in the hut. So we are constantly working with police and other agencies to find a compromise in the middle for that. If I had a magic wand and I could wave that, what that would look like was all of us just working ourselves out of a job, basically. We should not have these jobs in the country, and I say that with love, because the people that are in these jobs are doing wonderful mahi, but the biggest goal should be for there to be no need for this mahi. Our people are healed, or they're healing, they're on their road to healing. There are safe spaces created for them to come out of that amygdala brain. So they're so hypervigilant and on edge all the time. It's really hard to work with whānau when they are operating in the survival brain. So it's creating more safe spaces, especially for our Tania too, is waving a magic wand and acknowledging that actually about 75% of our men are abused. 75% are sexually abused is what's come out recently too, and having an understanding and being okay to talk about that as a people and hold that space for them, as well as our wahine and our kids. But yes, waving a magic wand will mean there'll be no more jobs needed in this space, because we live in a euphoric world where everyone is healed, better coping mechanisms and tools to avoid getting to a space of violence and misunderstandings with each other. So